It was very unexpected that Sergio Perez was going to be without a seat at the end of the 2020 season, but with his win in Sakir, it handed him a seat at Red Bull. It was always going to be a tough task to go into that second Red Bull seat and be as quick as Max Verstappen, as Alex Albon, Pierre Gasly have experienced in recent years. Sergio knew his role when he signed on the dotted line to be in that Red Bull. He was going to have to help Max as much as he can and win races when Max could not. So far in his time at Red Bull, he has won 4 races, and every single one of them has been at street circuits. Ever since he joined Red Bull at the start of 2021, he has had a championship-winning car, so it is expected that he wins races whenever Verstappen is unable to do so, for whatever reason that may be. Perez has almost been perfect second driver to Max, as he is quick and is able to fend for him, as we saw in Abu Dhabi in 2021. In today's video, we're going to talk about Perez's wins at Red Bull and how he is a master of street circuits, how maybe Max is not as good people think he is around the street circuits, and what the future may be for Sergio Perez at Red Bull. Let's dive straight into it, shall we? Perez, as we have all talked about, has won 4 races whilst being at Red Bull, and every single one of these has been at a street circuit, with some harder to win than others. As you probably know, street circuits are what they say they are. They are tracks which are raced on the streets in big cities all over the world. It takes a supremely good driver to win at street circuits due to the precision that is needed to keep the car out of the wall due to how close the walls are. If you win at a street circuit, it is clear that you are a top driver, and only the best of the best win here. To start off with, we're going to talk about Checo's first win at Red Bull, which took place in Baku in 2021. This is somewhat of a lucky win, many people say, but if mistakes and things happen in the race, you have to be there to win. At Baku, the battle was between Verstappen and Hamilton, with the Red Bulls looking much quicker, with Red Bull leading a 1-2 with Perez behind Verstappen. However, late on in the race, Verstappen would suffer a puncture on the main straight, which meant he would crash out of the race and would have to retire. Due to where the car was and the amount of debris on the track, the red flag was brought out. When the race began again, Perez was on pole with Hamilton alongside. But Hamilton locked up and went straight on after initially getting past Perez on the restart. This meant that Hamilton was out of the points, and Perez cruised home with his first win to help the team take home valuable points when one driver had a DNF. His second win at Red Bull would be on the streets of Monaco in 2022. This was a disaster from Ferrari, as you probably already know, with Leclerc being told to come in behind Sainz. It meant that he lost the race and Perez just took it after being in P2. As we know with Monaco, this was a pretty boring race, and once you are in the lead, it's almost impossible for other cars to overtake, as this was the case last year. Sergio's next win would be in Singapore in 2022, where he took home an impressive win after mistakes from drivers like Hamilton and Verstappen meant it was a race between Perez and Leclerc for the win. Perez would be given a 5-second time penalty, and he was in P2 behind Leclerc at this time, so he had to overtake and pull a 5-second gap. He was able to do this due to the supreme tyre wear on the RB18 compared to the Ferrari taking home his 3rd win for Red Bull, and at another iconic street circuit. In his most recent win at Saudi Arabia, this was probably the easiest of the lots at Red Bull. They had the fastest car all weekend, so it was between Perez and Verstappen to win the race, as nobody else had the pace like they did. Verstappen had an issue in qualifying, which meant he started in P15 whilst Perez was on pole. It was a walk in the park, and even though Verstappen did get 5 seconds behind Perez by the end of the race, it was not good enough, and Perez was once again a master of another street race. It's clear that Perez is a quick driver, and this is why he's at Red Bull, but he shows his true talent when he gets onto a street circuit and the stakes are raised. What are your thoughts on Perez's skill in the street circuits? Is he simply just better at them, or has it just been a bit of luck? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Now, onto a subject which not many have been talking about, and that is Perez just quicker than Verstappen on street circuits? We all know how quick and how good Verstappen is, but could he just be better on the more normal conventional racing tracks? Well, over the last few years of both of them being on the team, it does kind of look like that. There is no doubt that Verstappen is quicker than Perez, hence why he has 2 world championships as we speak. But on his day, Perez can match the pace and sometimes be quicker than Verstappen on some race weekends. Yes, this has not happened often enough for Perez to challenge for the championship to the very end, but he can be quick when he needs to be. All of the occasions in which Perez won a race at Red Bull was where Max had an issue with the car and was unable to be up in the grid with Perez. And Baku, he was leading when his tyre blew, making him retire from the race. In Monaco, he was unable to finish his last run in Q3 due to Perez spinning and causing yellow flags and drama at the end of the season. In Singapore, Max was unable to complete his final run in Q3 due to a lack of fuel in the car. And in Saudi Arabia, Max was unable to do a time in Q2 due to an issue with the car. So, to answer the question if Max is just poor at street circuits or Perez is better, the answer is no. Max has just been unlucky. Perez has been able to win these races when it is almost impossible for Max to do so, and that was the whole point of him joining Red Bull in the first place, to assist Max. Perez does deserve his wins for the team, but if Max had a normal weekend, would it be different for Sergio? I guess we'll never find out. To finish off with, we are going to talk about what the future could possibly look like for Sergio Perez at Red Bull. Perez has a contract until the end of the 2024 season, so he's secure in the team. But as we've seen several times in the sport, a contract ending date does not mean it will be fulfilled. Just look at Ricciardo in 2022 with McLaren. It does seem that Horner and the higher-ups are happy with Perez as long as he is helping Max. And if he does fight him, there's no instance Red Bull will always prioritise Max as he is simply the better and quicker driver. But of course, Perez wants to win a world championship and the RB19 is the fastest car. And Perez has to be in the conversation to win a championship too. The only worrying thing for him is that if he tries to fight Max and that they crash, Perez will be the one to blame, more than likely, and he could lose his seat for this reason. Will Perez finish his contract until after next season? More than likely yes, but he may not get an extension for a number of reasons. One of these is that there's been public interest from Horner in Norris, and he wants them to be in that team. When you look at the state of McLaren compared to Red Bull, it will be a no-brainer for Norris to take up the chance of joining Verstappen. It'll be very interesting to see what is next for Sergio Perez. Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure that you like the video and subscribe to watch more videos just like this one.